Was the Buddha a Jaina? First of all, let us try to pronounce the name of the Exalted One, of the Tathagata, in the correct way. Most Buddhists don't. And I don't have a breath problem when I say Buddhist or a speech impairment, but this is how we should speak the name of the Tathagata. Buddha. 2D and an H, A in Sanskrit. Buddha. In order to answer the question if the Buddha was a Jaina, we should understand what is Jainism. And therefore, I have to become now very detailed. And it may be boring for many, or some, but I can't avoid it because the responsibility is too great when we talk about such a delicate topic. Because all over the world there is the discussion and debate. Is Buddhism originated from Buddha? Or was the guru of Buddha a Jaina? Or is Buddhism copied Jainism? And so forth and so on. The Book of Light clears that question, and I try to be detailed now, yet to summarize. Otherwise I would need 20 hours. Just to approximately answer that question. So, in essence, you need to read the Book of Light then. See? This is what would be necessary. But maybe these commentaries, as imperfect as they are, may lead you to the perfection of the teaching of the Book of Light. Now, the origin of Jainism, the Book of Light dates back pre-Vedic. What is pre-Vedic, dear friends? Pre-Vedic. See, the Book of Light goes back millions of years. So, we say the origin of Jainism is back to Atlantean times. But we have to start somewhere. Somewhere. When we say pre-Vedic, then we would come to a time of 900 BC and so forth. And there, Jainism, you could say, was taught, preached by succession. 24 propagators. They were known as Tirthankara. Now the first of them, Rishabha, let's start somewhere, dear friends. The traditional founder of Jainism. It doesn't matter if he existed in reality or was just a legendary character, like most of the people. Sometimes they were both. And Book of Light does not connect Rishabha with the seals of the Indus Valley civilization. If we do that, we go further back. But let's put that aside. It shows nude pictures or nude male figures, statues, and so forth. We come to that. And then there was a lineage which is described in the Book of Light in detail of this teaching of the Jainas. What is the teaching? World renunciation, non-violence. Now, we have extreme Jainism and we have middle path Jainism too. See? About both we will talk, but basically it's non-violence, overcoming and mastering of all your emotions and desires in deep meditation. They are the real enemy. No outer enemy there, just you. There's no other enemy than the one in you. Anatta, non-self. And those Tirthankaras, they have attained that state of being free from desire. So therefore, because they have attained a state of desire, of absence of desire, to the world, but even to the highest realms, the Jaina teaching says that this leads to nirvana. Let's see if it's right. Was the Buddha a Jaina, dear friends? Now, most Buddhists don't know that the teaching of the Buddha, indeed, is not from him, but that this world renunciation philosophy with nirvana as a goal was long prior to the Buddha. And since 900 BC, in the Jaina sect, and even before, I say, Buddha was born 250 years later. And it was a Jaina guru, or a Jaina, no Jaina, that was a mistake, see? Always correct Sanskrit. Jaina, who instructed the Buddha and showed him the way to nirvana, and let's see if that was the correct instruction. See, and this is the reason why in Buddhism we have many quotations of Jainas, words. Excuse me, dear friends. And many Jainas concluded from that there was no Buddha, but that there's only somebody who plagiarized from the Jainas. So now we become detailed. Are you still with me, dear friends? An example, a comparison. The four refuges of the Jainas. Chatuh Sarana. Chatari Sharam Parvajjami. I take my refuge to the following four rules or refuges. My recluse, my refuge, I use the term refuge now. First, Arahamte Sharanam Parvajjame. I take my refuge to the Arhats. This is all Jainism. Second, Siddha Sharanam Parvajjame. I take my refuge to the Siddhas. Third, Sahu Sharanam Parvajjame. I take my refuge to the sadhus, to the saints, to the arhats. 4. Kevali Panattam Dhammam Sharanam Parvajjame. I take my refuge to the Dharma, holy law, preached by the all-knowers, or those who know. Those were the Jainas, dear friends. Now, what is the Jaina? We can explain that again to define what a Jaina is. A Jaina is somebody who follows a Jaina. The Jaina is a spiritual hero, overcomer. He has overcome everything. All his weaknesses and desires are flown from him. And a Jaina is somebody who gives a passage, a fjord, who leads you like with a raft over the ocean to nirvana, over the ocean of the world to nirvana. Now, such a one is called a Tirthankara. Now, here we come to human weakness, the ego, in the sense of the lower self now. Earlier Buddhists, who either didn't know that Buddhism has its roots, I say, in Jainism, or who didn't want to know it, they changed the term Tirthankara, the Sanskrit Tirthankara, in Pali Titiya. And this is a condescending synonym for non-Buddhists, no Buddhists. You see, they said, that's a Titiya. I quoted to you the four refuges of the Jainas. Now, if you compare them to the later, couple of 100 years later, dear Buddhists, you will see it's almost the same. Just that they changed the name of Arhat or Tirthankara with Buddha. Let's see. First, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. I take my refuge to the Buddha. Second, Dharmam Sharanam Gacchami. I take my refuge to the light of his teachings and his law. Third, Sangam Sharanam Gacchami. I take my refuge to the communion, sorry, dear friends, I'm German. My English is horrible. Of the saints. Yeah? I should know English by now. I was 10 years in the States. But you see, now I'm in Germany and I don't speak English so much anymore. Forget everything. The manas rupa, the mental body, has all the knowledge. But the physical sometimes, has not. See, therefore, dear friends, the brain is not the thought or the thinking, it's the container of thoughts. It's a big difference. Now, there is a similarity between the 5 Anusvratas and the 3 Gunavatras, some other thing, aspect of the Jainas, and of the 8-fold path of the Buddhists. Nevertheless, Jainism was before Buddhism, prior to Buddhism. And the Jainas, also Nirgranthas, the detached ones, liberated ones, are sometimes mentioned by the Buddhists even in the oldest parts of the Pitakas. I don't know of any old Jaina Sutra where they mention the Buddha or Buddhists. This is what the Book of Light teaches. So the Nigranthas were not, as many think, a new founded sect from Buddha's time. So now let's see. We will see in our next lecture how the Jainas tried to attain nirvana and how the Buddha did it. And if that is really the same, since he had a Jaina guru, no? It would follow he did the Jaina path. Did he? We will see.